this episode, we are going to examine a part of the cloud environment that often feels purely operational, but can quietly become one of the most powerful attack paths, if not protected carefully. Continuous integration and continuous delivery, CI/CD, pipelines are designed to automate building, testing, and deploying applications, and they are trusted because they sit between source code and production systems. That trust is precisely what makes them attractive to attackers. If someone compromises the pipeline, they may be able to inject malicious code, alter infrastructure definitions, or access secrets used during deployment. A pipeline that is not secured properly can become a bridge that carries an attacker directly into sensitive environments. Securing CI/CD is therefore not just about protecting development workflows, but about protecting the entire software supply chain. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is a companion to our course companion books. The first book is about the exam and provides detailed information on how to pass it best. The second book is a Kindle-only ebook that contains 1,000 flashcards that can be used on your mobile device or Kindle. Check them both out at cyber.author.me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. To understand the risk clearly, consider what a pipeline actually does in a modern cloud environment. It often pulls code from repositories, builds artifacts, runs tests, packages images, pushes those images to registries, and deploys resources into development, staging, or production. Along the way, it may use credentials to access storage, modify infrastructure, and retrieve secrets. Each of these actions represents authority, and authority in automation is both powerful and scalable. If a human account is compromised, the damage may be limited to that person's actions. If a pipeline identity is compromised, automated processes can amplify the attacker's reach at machine speed. The pipeline is not just a tool. It is an identity with broad influence. One of the first security principles for pipelines is least privilege, which means the pipeline identity should have only the permissions necessary to perform its defined tasks. Beginners often assume pipelines need broad administrative access because they manage deployments, but this assumption is rarely correct. A pipeline that deploys a specific application does not need authority over unrelated resources or accounts. If one pipeline builds a web service, it should not also have permission to alter identity configurations or networking rules beyond its scope. Tight scoping ensures that if the pipeline is compromised, the damage is limited to a defined area. Precision protects scale. Another important control is separating environments so that the same pipeline credentials do not span development and production without clear boundaries. It is tempting to reuse credentials across environments to simplify configuration, but that creates a single point of failure. If a development pipeline is compromised and it uses the same credentials as production, the attacker gains immediate high-impact access. A safer pattern is to use separate identities and secrets for each environment, each scoped to its purpose. This separation ensures that a breach in one stage does not automatically cascade into others. Boundaries preserve containment. Strong authentication and secret handling are also critical in pipeline security. Pipelines often require access tokens, service credentials, or signing keys to perform their tasks. These secrets must not be hard-coded into configuration files or stored in plain text variables accessible to broad groups. Instead, pipelines should retrieve secrets securely at runtime from managed secret systems, using scoped identities. This reduces the chance that secrets leak through logs or repository access. Beginners sometimes underestimate the visibility of pipeline configurations, but they are often accessible to many team members and automation tools. Controlled secret delivery limits exposure. Code integrity is another key aspect of pipeline security because the pipeline determines what ultimately runs in production. If an attacker can modify code or build scripts before they are executed, they can introduce malicious logic that passes through automated deployment unnoticed. Secure pipelines should validate the integrity of source code and dependencies, ensuring that only approved changes are built and deployed. This may include verifying commit signatures or restricting who can trigger deployments. While these controls do not eliminate all risk, they reduce the chance that unauthorized changes slip through quietly. Integrity checks protect trust in the build process. Dependency management also deserves attention because modern applications rely on many external libraries and components. If a dependency is compromised, the pipeline may incorporate malicious code automatically. Secure pipeline practices include scanning dependencies for known vulnerabilities and maintaining an inventory of what is included in each build. Beginners may think of pipelines as neutral conveyors of code, but pipelines actively assemble components into deployable artifacts. Monitoring and validating those components reduces supply chain risk. Visibility into dependencies supports safer automation. Monitoring and logging within the pipeline environment provide visibility into both normal and abnormal behavior. Every build, deployment, and secret retrieval event should generate logs that can be reviewed and analyzed. Sudden changes in pipeline activity, such as unusual deployment targets or unexpected secret access, can signal compromise. Continuous observation turns pipelines from opaque automation engines into transparent systems. Beginners sometimes focus on securing production systems while neglecting pipeline monitoring, but the pipeline is often the faster attack path. Observability strengthens defense. Another important control is restricting who can modify pipeline configurations themselves. Pipeline definitions are often stored as code, and changes to those definitions can alter security posture significantly. If too many users can edit pipeline logic, the risk of accidental or malicious misconfiguration increases. Limiting edit permissions and requiring review for pipeline changes reduces this risk. Governance at the pipeline layer ensures that automation remains aligned with security standards. Change control supports stability. Isolation between pipeline stages can further reduce risk by limiting how artifacts move through the process. For example, build environments can be separated from deployment environments, each with distinct permissions. Artifacts produced in earlier stages can be validated before progressing to later stages. This staged approach ensures that one compromised component does not automatically control the entire workflow. Isolation reinforces defense in depth. Compartmentalization reduces cascade failure. It is also important to consider the security of the infrastructure that runs the pipeline itself. If the underlying runners or agents are compromised, they can manipulate builds or capture secrets. Ensuring that pipeline infrastructure is regularly updated, hardened, and monitored is therefore essential. Beginners sometimes assume cloud-managed services are secure by default, but configuration and access still matter. Protecting the foundation protects the automation it executes. Infrastructure security extends to automation platforms. Supply chain trust extends beyond code and into signing and artifact validation. Signing build artifacts and verifying signatures before deployment ensures that only trusted outputs reach production. This adds a layer of assurance that the artifact was produced by an authorized pipeline and has not been tampered with afterward. Signature validation protects integrity across the deployment path. Without it, an attacker who intercepts or replaces artifacts may bypass pipeline controls. Verification closes that gap. Incident response planning should explicitly include pipeline compromise scenarios. If a pipeline identity is suspected of misuse, teams must be able to revoke credentials quickly and investigate affected deployments. Because pipelines act quickly and broadly, response must be equally decisive. Clear ownership and documentation of pipeline identities accelerate containment. Preparedness reduces downtime and uncertainty. Planning strengthens resilience. By the end of this episode, the importance of securing CI/CD pipelines should feel both logical and urgent because pipelines sit at the intersection of code, infrastructure, and deployment. Least privilege identities limit what automation can change, and environment separation prevents cross-stage escalation. Secure secret handling and strong authentication protect credentials that pipelines rely on. Integrity checks, dependency validation, monitoring, and isolation guard against supply chain manipulation. Protecting the infrastructure that runs pipelines ensures the foundation remains trustworthy. When all these elements are applied thoughtfully, build systems remain powerful enablers of speed without becoming attacker bridges into your cloud environment.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.